Welcome back. As you know, I'm Eli, the computer guy, here for the Daily Blob, where we say, lottie, lottie, lottie. Oh my golly, have you seen these numbers? These numbers be so high. How high be they? They're so high you can't even see the top of these numbers in the AI world. So I think one of the most fascinating things about the AI revolution is how all of the large technology companies are basically working together. It would appear to me almost colluding to destroy any possible startup competition. I find this to be very interesting, having done technology for 30 years, almost 30 years, started in 1996. One of the curious things in the past is how the technology companies really used to compete against each other. And in that competition, startup companies could find gaps where they could get a little bit of sunlight, and then they could grow, and then they could become big technology companies and destroy the last generation of technology companies, right? And basically that was a valuable thing that happened within our industry, is that since you had all of these tech bro, masters of the universe, and they were competing with each other, and when they competed with each other, they did create better products at better price points, but they also did a lot of destruction. And basically in that destruction, that would allow the startups to be able to get their roots down and actually be able to do something interesting. One of the things I find absolutely fascinating about this AI revolution is how all the big tech companies are coming together and are working together. And this is one of the reasons why you have to worry or be concerned about the propaganda about the value of artificial intelligence, right? I've talked about this for a while. Basically, the IT world plateaued probably about 2015. I'm not saying things haven't gotten better, but they've gotten better by dribs and drabs. I mean, think about it, right? If you go out and you buy the most expensive computer today, it's gonna look a lot like a computer from 2005, right? You're gonna have a keyboard, you're gonna have a mouse or a trackpad, you're gonna have a screen, you're going to have better Wi-Fi, you're going to have better Bluetooth, you're going to have better storage and better processor and better graphics cards. But basically, a laptop now is the same laptop we used to have. Again, one of the curious things that I tell people is honestly, and I really don't say this to be snarky, this is Silicon Dojo when we do in-person classes. These are our lab computers. This is a 2012 MacBook Pro. 2012 MacBook Pro, I threw a solid state drive into them, and they have 4 gigs of RAM. And here, I'm gonna tell you something. This is fine for most people. This is fine for most people, right? And that's a big issue for the tech world, right? Because in the tech world, you are either growing or you are dying. There is nothing in between, right? A plateau, if you're just going along, making a reasonable profit margin, that's not what investors want to see. That basically means you're dying. So you got to grow. So what happens? What happens in an industry where you have to grow, but there's not a lot of new stuff to build, right? I think about this with, they just had the new Apple. The Apple event happened like a day or two ago. And people are like, Eli, are you going to do a video about the Apple event? And I'm not even really sure what to say. Literally, they came out with the iPhone 17 Air. The revolution, the innovation is, hey, what if it was an iPhone, but lighter? And now, look, you know me, I love to give Gen Z crap. I don't know, it's like, who is more fun to give crap to, Gen Z or Europeans? Maybe European Gen Zers. But anyways, right, I love to give Gen Z crap. But even Gen Z, even as much as I look down my nose at Gen Z, I cannot honestly believe even the Gen Zers are sitting there on the toilet, playing their little video games, thinking, if only this iPhone was even lighter. I don't believe the Gen Zers like, oh, my muscles have atrophied to such a degree, I cannot pick up a normal iPhone. They need to innovate and come up with a lighter iPhone so I can pick up my iPhone the way Grandpappy used to pick up his iPhone. Right? But again, you look at it. You look at the Apple event and what there was actually interesting and innovative. I've talked about this for a while. You know, when I was a kid, I remember my father, we were going to get a computer because he's an engineer, and we're going to get a computer. And he said, Eli, not only can you type on it, so I was 6 years old, it's like 82 or something. He was like, not only can you type on it, but you can play games too. Oh! Right? And when we talk about games, we're talking about like Solitaire and Minesweeper. But that was exciting. That was exciting back in the day, right? I remember when basically every time a new piece of technology came out, we all wanted it. We didn't even know what the fuck we were going to do with it, but we wanted it. Remember when those black LCD screen laptops came out? We had nothing to do with those things. There was very little useful stuff you could do with one of those computers back in the day because we didn't even have internet, so they were pretty worthless. We still wanted the damn thing. We didn't know what we were going to do with it, but we wanted one, right? And that's the thing. When computers came out, even when we didn't know what to do with them, we still wanted them. When laptops came out, didn't know, but we wanted them, right? And then finally the internet came out, actually gave us a use for all this stuff, and then better internet came out, and smartphones came out, and the interesting things, right? We had 20 years. We had 20 years of my life where every time a new technology product came out, by God, we wanted it. People wanted it, right? It was exciting, and that was the growth of the tech industry. But here's the thing, right? After the iPhone moment, or the Android moment, or the iPad moment, when was the last time a truly new, innovative piece of technology came out that you were honestly excited about? Not an iterative improvement, not the new Switch, which is actually pretty cool. I got one. Not the new PlayStation, not a bigger screen, not going from a 55-inch screen to an 85-inch screen. But when was the last time a really valuable piece of technology came out with like, damn, I gotta have that? And the reality is, for most of us, it's been a long time, right? Like the whole thing with foldable phones. We're all supposed to want foldable phones for some reason. Why? I don't know. And I've talked about this, right? The metaverse, VR. We are told that we want VR. We are informed by other people that we want VR. But we didn't really want VR. We were informed by other people that we need to get on board with blockchain. We didn't get bored with blockchain, right? We keep being informed by all of these tech companies. What we really need to be interested in is, and it all just keeps failing, right? If you look at the past number of years of tech innovation, it's just been blasé is probably the best way to explain it, which is fine. That's actually a normal thing, right? An industry gets created, it's all revolutionary, and at a certain time it becomes normal. That's literally what's supposed to happen. The problem for these tech companies, though, is right they're so focused on investor money, right? They're not focused on profit and revenue. Right? Profit and revenue, if they were focused on, they would be fine. But that doesn't pay their executives enough money. What they need is the investor money. And the investors don't want blasé, right? If you're an investor, you want to invest in sexy, right? Blasé ain't sexy. And so basically what's going on with this whole AI arms race is these tech companies have found this idea, they have found this concept that everybody seems to be glomming onto for some reason. And they're like, this is what we can sell. This is what we can try to make people think is, as we've heard, the next iPhone moment, the next internet moment, the next we've heard this horse shit. They say it's the next electricity moment. That's absurd. It's absurd on the face of it, right? The only person either stupid enough or fraudulent enough to try to communicate that to somebody would be a tech bro in Silicon Valley. Right? But they try to put this out there, not because it is, but because it will boost their stock valuation, right? If they are at the forefront of the next electricity revolution, you've got to get on board. Ignore the lack of utility for artificial intelligence. Does AI have utility? Yes. Every single day I use it 3 times to come up with really stupid featured images for my thumbnails. It has functionality. Is it worth everything that's getting put into it? No, absolutely not, right? The only people that would buy that horse crap are insane, senile, old loser politicians that are currently in Washington, D.C., that are glomming onto anything to prove that America is still superior to the world. If you actually use these products, they're fine. They're fine. They're fine. But I bring all this up because OpenAI and now Oracle have inked a historic deal. So you think about this, and this is where I'm saying the canopy of the old growth technology companies are now darkening the forest floor to such a degree that the startup companies are not going to have any sunlight to grow. Notice with these big tech companies how they are incestuously creating this whole web amongst themselves, and how that deprives the nutrients and everything that the lower folks need. So you have OpenAI, right? OpenAI creates agreements with Microsoft. OpenAI creates agreements with Google. OpenAI creates agreements with Oracle, right? If you're Microsoft or you're Google or you're Oracle and you're getting tens of billions of dollars per year from OpenAI, are you going to publicly state that artificial intelligence is kind of dumb? Right? At the end of the day, you got mortgages to pay. Some people have mortgages to pay on 700 square foot houses. Some people have mortgages to pay on castles. Look, you may snark at the masters of the universe for living in their castles, but by God, they've still got mortgages. You're not gonna fuck with that mortgage, right? So think about this, right? Think about this. Microsoft, and it really, like I talk about all this political stuff and people don't really say, they're like, oh, why do you talk about politics? Because it all comes together. I want you to really think about this for a second, right? Microsoft is supporting the ethnic cleansing in Gaza right now. What? Hold on, follow me here, right? Basically, the Azure data centers, the Azure data storage services, are being used by the Israeli intelligence agencies and military agencies to basically hoover up all electronic communication from Palestinians, right? Palestinians have no rights to privacy, right? Because humans have rights to privacy. Palestinians, come on now. Right? And so this is all getting hoovered up, and this is all going into the Azure data centers, right? So Microsoft, right? A brown guy is running it. Curiously enough, the guy running it does not look like me. Well, he is bald, but he does not look like me, right? And he is fine. He is fine with explicitly supporting the crushing of an entire society by a militaristic regime. Why? Because it pays the mortgage on his castle. And, let's be clear, it pays a lot of other mortgages too. You know, all those Microsoft employees that protest against the blood money and then go back to work. Where do you think your paycheck comes from? So what I want you to think about here is if Microsoft will literally not push back on one of their customers that's doing ethnic cleansing, that is doing war crimes, right? Literally, Israel, one of Israel's courts literally came out and said that Israel, right, is not feeding their hostages enough food. They're literally starving their hostages, is what the Israeli IDF is doing, right? They took all these hostages out of Gaza. They have them sequestered off. There was a 17-year-old that literally died of starvation, right? Nadala is fine with supporting a militaristic regime that literally starves teenagers to death because it pays a mortgage. Well, think about this. If AI is paying mortgages, right? If basically these AI companies are getting all this investor money in and they're making sure everybody gets a cut, look at how all the money is going out to all these large technology companies. If everybody is getting a cut of hundreds of billions of dollars, will any of these large technology companies literally come out and say, you know, all of this is kind of stupid? Fuck no, they won't, because it's paying their mortgage. If they will not basically do anything about Israel's use of the Azure data centers, they sure as hell aren't going to come out and talk about AI being kind of stupid. And this is what I'm cautioning you all on, because all of this is stupid. And I've talked about this before. There's just way too much money going into all of this. We have the American AI stack. We have the Chinese AI stack. We have the European AI stack. The fucking UAE is coming up with their own AI stack, right? It's not that it's not valuable. It's just not worth that. It's just not. It's like a bottle of water. It's a bottle of water. If I try to sell you a bottle of water for $1 million, right? What do you think? Right? What? Oh, what? Survival is not worth $1 million to you? Right? Like what you need to literally survive through the day, you would put a dollar valuation on? Man, that's what water is. If you have a bottle of water, why not fucking slap $1 million price tag on it? People literally need it to survive. Look at that 17-year-old who died in Israel because he didn't get enough, right? But you don't put $1 million price tag on it because that would be fucking stupid. You put a $4 price tag on it because that's capitalism. Anyways, and that's one of my things when I talk about artificial intelligence. It's not that you shouldn't put a $4 price tag or a $1 price tag or $20 price tag on it. It's just, when you have Sam Altman coming out and talking about spending $4 trillion on CapEx expenses for AI, that's one company. Maybe shit's getting a little stupid. But anyways, I can say that because big tech is not greasing my palms. Though big tech, I will just say to anybody who works in big tech, I do have two palms. I have palms. If you would like to try to grease them, I mean, I'm just saying Silicon Dojo does need some funding. I'm not gonna stop saying shit about your companies, but I will take your money. Anyway, so this is interesting coming from TechCrunch. And just really shows you the absurdity and how incestuous all of these bastards really are. OpenAI and Oracle reportedly ink historic cloud computing deal. What do you think a historic cloud computing deal would be? $10 billion? $20 billion? Oh, kids. You still think a MacBook Pro is considered a lot of money. Oracle sent its shares soaring after markets closed yesterday after reporting that it signed multiple multi-billion-dollar contracts with several customers. Now we have an idea of who those customers might be. Oracle signed a deal with OpenAI for the AI company to purchase. Wait for it. $300 billion worth of compute power over a span of about 5 years. They're going to spend $60 billion per year on compute from one company. Do you realize OpenAI has agreements with Microsoft and OpenAI has agreements with Google? So this agreement is one. According to reporting from the Wall Street Journal, OpenAI would start purchasing this compute in 2027. If the Wall Street Journal's report is correct, this would be one of the largest cloud contracts ever signed. Yeah, because, when you have all of the money, I guess you get to spend it however you want. Oracle is no stranger to working with OpenAI. OpenAI started tapping Oracle for compute in the summer of 2024. The AI giant also moved further away from exclusively using Microsoft Azure as its only cloud provider in January. This move away from Microsoft was timed with OpenAI's involvement with the Stargate project, in which OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle have committed to invest $500 billion into domestic data center projects over the next 4 years. This just kind of shows you how all of these large tech companies are working hand in hand to fleece the world of every fucking dime they can from this AI fraud. Right? Take take something that has a bit of value, take something that has a bit of utility, and then try to blow that up into being the most important thing since electricity or nuclear weapons. And the issue in our society is that because these big companies are doing it, because these famous tech bros are doing this, so many people fall in line to feel like, of course it's correct, right? There's this weird thing, like I remember this with Mark Zuckerberg, right? When Mark Zuckerberg, when Facebook IPO'd, there was literal talk of Mark Zuckerberg running for president of the United States. Why? Why? Put all my other feelings about Mark Zuckerberg aside, right? God bless him. I'm not snarking on him for the money that he's created for his company, but he had faith, and all he had at the time was Facebook. So he took this company from nothing to being Facebook, an IPO, and being worth $100 or $200 billion at the time. But there was this idea that he must be so smart. And what if he could do that for America? It's like, no, look, he was fine for Facebook. God bless him for PHP. God bless him. A lot of PHP developers out there still have jobs because of Mark Zuckerberg making sure that PHP was still relevant, right? So I'm not really snarking on Mark Zuckerberg. There's no reason in hell, right, he should be president of the United States. It doesn't make sense on the face of it, right? But they see with Elon Musk, right? When Elon Musk goes in for Doge, right? Elon Musk is going to revolutionize the federal government. Holy shit. I mean, he did stuff there. He did a lot of stuff to our federal government none of us had ever thought about before. None of us had ever thought about before, right? But why? Even if you take on face value that he's an engineer, genius, and the rest of it, why does that mean he makes a damn bit of sense for government, right? It's this mentality, right? This aura, this reality distortion field or whatever around these people that makes it seem like, no, right? You're not smart enough. Eli, in a democracy, you have to understand that you should shut up because the smart people are talking. Because that's how democracies are supposed to work. Oh, yes. In a democracy, the rich people get all the speech and the poor people get to shut up and listen. And that's the concern that I have here, right? Google, AI, Microsoft, AI, OpenAI, AI, Oracle, AI. All of these companies that are trying to fleece our society, that are mining the foundations of our society that have been built up over hundreds of years so that they can get their grams of fucking gold, and they do not give a shit what they destroy along the way. They're all coming together to profit off of this crap show. And this is just another example of it, right? OpenAI signing a $300 billion contract with Oracle is proof of the syphilis running through these jackasses. But anyways, what do you think about it? Yay! Oracle is getting more money. Hey, Larry Ellison is now the most valuable human being in the world. Doesn't that make you feel better? Yeah, learn a little bit about Larry Ellison. It's hilarious. It's like Larry Ellison is like this weird character in the tech world, right? There's Bill Gates, and there's Steve Jobs, there's Wozniak, and there's Musk, and there's Zuckerberg, right? And it's people love them or people hate them, but they're like there. They are there. And then there's Oracle, and there's Larry Ellison. And Larry Ellison just does his fucking job and sails boats. Sails a lot of boats. And it's so weird. Like nobody, Oracle is like one of those like weird tech companies where it's incredibly significant. Larry Ellison is incredibly wealthy, but like they, for whatever reason, just never gets talked about, right? When they talk about the most evil people in the tech industry, Larry Ellison's name never comes up. He's a bastard. He's a really fucking big bastard. But for some reason, nobody talks about it. It's the weirdest thing. So anyways, what do you think about this? What do you think about OpenAI putting $300 billion into Oracle? What do you think about Larry Ellison now being the most valuable human being in the entire world? What do you think about this AI idiocy? Oh, can you make it make sense? Comment section down below. You have a tweet length comment to try to make this horse crap make an ounce of sense to me. Put your thoughts down below. Give us a thumbs up, give us a thumbs down. Call me amazing, call me a moron. Yes, do it down in the comment section as a real alpha dog do. Do remember silicondojo.com is coming back. It's coming back with a passion. Well, I guess it hasn't left. But anyways, we are going to be doing in-person classes in Durham, North Carolina soon. We're going to be doing in-person classes here in Asheville, North Carolina soon. And we're doing fireside chats. Our next one is with a founder of a $2 billion cybersecurity startup company. And I will have him come on the show to crush your dreams. That's one of the things you're going to find being a tech leader and visionary is you do have to delegate your work to other folks. I am exhausted crushing your hopes and dreams. And therefore, I'm outsourcing the crushing of your hopes and dreams to other professionals that are willing to come on the show and say, yeah, no, that's kind of stupid. That's kind of dumb. Anyways, if you're interested in any of that, silicondojo.com, you can go to it, you can become a member, and you will be on the newsletter and all that kind of stuff to come to classes or whatever. That's all I got to say. And with that, see y'all later.